Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing good. In this video, I gonna discuss about camera control feature in Betaflight. So there is a feature called camera control where you can control the camera settings using your transmitter. But most of the time, it won't work for most of the cameras. Recently, I got 533 Foxeer Predator 5 nano camera. This camera basically renders a logo onto the OSD, which I never like, because like in races we don't want to have a logo saying 533 on our OSD. In that matter, like I don't want to see any other readings or OSD readings from camera, which is rendered by camera on top of OSD. Like there is separate OSD elements which you all aware, but apart from Betaflight OSD, camera also can render couple of OSD metrics on top of the screen. So basically, I want to remove them. And also like basically camera control show brightness, saturation, and basically camera features. Camera control for this camera to me is very important. So let's go to how camera control works in Betaflight. Your FC ideally have pin called camera control CC, and it will goes into your camera OSD pin. Camera OSD pin basically requires a certain number of resistance to do a particular operation. Let's say you want to go to menu, the 47 kilo ohm resistance to be applied to that OSD pin. If you want to move left or right, top, bottom, each of the action will have a certain amount of resistance linked to it. Now the problem is like every camera has different resistance values. The resistance is are compared against the voltage supplied to the camera. So there are multiple variables here that Betaflight actually do a very good job in just giving a generic numbers for all of these variables. But it changes from camera to camera. So let's say you got a brand new camera which has a OSD or camera control, and you just connect it with FC, and then you just using your sticks and nothing box, right? You don't see any camera menu. That is because you basically didn't change any Betaflight default settings or default camera control settings depends on your camera. So today the settings I'm gonna show you is 533 Predator Nano, but you can apply this concept to almost all the cameras. Let's head to Betaflight camera control. This is Betaflight. Go to CLI. There are four important variables you need to work on here. So one is camera control button resistance. There are like five values. 450 is the value for menu, 270 is for left, and 150 is for the top, and then this is 68 for right, and 0 is bottom. Basically, if you get to 450 resistance from the CC pin of FC, then camera goes to camera menu. That's how you traverse the camera menu. Okay, so the next thing is camera internal resistance. Every camera has some internal resistance. You just need to like do trial and error. Usually, it is predefined numbers like for runcam, couple of runcam cameras it is 99, and then there is 215, 212, and then 470, and then 500. Some place it will work. Yeah, camera reference voltage is the amount of voltage you are giving to the camera. You can just measure it by taking multimeter from OSD pin to the ground. Okay, so then you will get your camera reference voltage. Ideally, like camera reference voltage is 3.3, but sometimes what happens is due to some voltage losses, like you will reduce a little bit of voltage. Yeah, next setting is camera control key delay. Camera control key delay is like basically if you are like pressing a particular stick, how much time you need to press a stick to take an input. Like let's say if you press a stick and like it's clicked the menu for two times, that means like it is taking two times in one single press. That means it is sampling way too fast. You did the press and after some time it is getting applicable. Just reduce the delay. Like if it is clicking too fast, just increase the delay. Now let's see the values for the Foxeer Predator 5 camera. Yeah. So these are the values I identified that works perfectly with this camera. So let's see what happens if I just use the default settings. can see my OSD. So I'm bringing this to the middle position and I'm clicking right. If you see when I click right, it is doing nothing. So if you see the pitch and roll is in axis is like exactly in the middle, and I am keeping the throttle exactly in the middle, and I need to move the throttle to right. I don't see any camera menu in the OSD. That is because like we are using default Betaflight settings. So let's change it. Okay, Duki, I have my settings here. Copy. I will paste them in these in the description. Yeah. So I have changed the internal resistance to 500. This is just a trial and error which I did. Again, this is the most important thing. Button resistances, like you don't find it anywhere in the internet. These are like completely random, which are working perfectly fine for this camera. And at the time of recording this video, I'm using a Betaflight 4.5.1. In future, like these values might not work, but for now they are working. Yeah, and the camera reference voltage is something you can measure with your multimeter. You connect the camera to your FC and you take a multimeter, power on the FC. Camera should be powered on. You might need to touch your lipo. So and then measure the voltage between OSD and ground. That will give you your camera reference voltage. So let me do that right away. So if you see this particular white wire, white is the OSD and the black is the ground. So I'm gonna measure the voltage between the OSD and the ground. So I'm getting exactly 3.27. You multiply it with 100. So that's what you keep it in your as your camera reference voltage. You just set all of these three settings first and then check the delay. Whenever you try to do something like it is double clicking, then basically increase the delay, or if it is taking too long, then decrease the delay. It's personal choice. I found that for this camera 125 is a very good candidate. So let me save it now. If you see my OSD, you can find the 533 label. So I just want to remove that 533 label. So let's see if the settings worked or not. So now my throttle is exactly in middle. So I'm moving the throttle to the right. Yeah. So if you see earlier we unable to go to the camera setup menu, but now the camera setup menu is coming. And if I move the pitch stick down, you can see the selection changing perfectly. So now what I want to do is I want to turn off the camera ID so that I don't see 533 logo. So if you see my camera ID is off now. You can just do save and save all. So to again save it, you need to move the stick to right, like to basically it's enter. If you move the throttle stick to the right, keeping it middle, it will be enter. Now if you observe my 533 logo is completely removed from OSD. So that's it for this video, guys.